And Mike Lawson, who unfortunately is not with us anymore, who was one of the major players with our group, had a big connection with Ferrymead, and we sourced another one, and he'd started to make up a bracket to mount it. And then we had a big splash for a Heritage Restoration Award that was given to us for the machinery and Orion for the restoration of the building. And about a week later, the lady from Orion rang me and she said, "Now, I've just had somebody ring me and he reckons he's got something that you might like." And I said, "Oh yes." She said that he said something about a rev counter, and of course he'd had it wrapped up in a towel on top of his wardrobe
for 50 years.
For 50 years. Because that's the original rev counter.
And he took it in and put it on the counter and said, "I think the boys in Akaroa would like that." So and we don't know
how did he come to have it?
Yeah, how did he
come to have it?
Oh, we never got to the bottom.
How did he get it? Oh, just souvenired it.
He wasn't a bikie, was he?
But I suspect he souvenired it.
Yes.
Wow.
So we got the original piece back, which was just amazing.
That is amazing, that's correct.
It's a great thing inside too. It records the same speed regardless of which direction it goes.
Oh.
It's very clever.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking there's not a great deal of ask on this belt because that's the same size belt that I use on a 1903 International engine to cut wood.
Yeah. No, there's not a great ask on it at all. And that was all after the fire. They never reinstated the manual governor. When they put the new shaft in, there were no pulleys or anything, and we had to. Mike turned the aluminium pulley that you can see, and we sourced the other pulley from Louis Dean's property out at Homebush. Okay. Yes, I know Louise quite well, and she was interested in that because they've restored a very interesting machine out there. It drives the mill and generates a wee bit of electricity, and known Louise for a long time, and we were talking about it. I had mentioned it, she said, "Look, there's a stack of old pulleys out here, you better come out and have a look." So it was one that suited the application.
So since we've done this, we were given another one. And unfortunately, we got nowhere to show it. So we had to buy a container, which we put on Peter's farm, and we put all the stuff in this container. But we haven't really got anywhere to show it off.
No. And is it a similar unit to this?
No, it's quite a bit smaller. It was from a farm in Pigeon Bay.
1914, John.
8 kilowatts.
DC.
But the little power room, which hadn't been used for years, absolutely original. Oil splashes on the timber. I mean, none of the gauges were broken. Everything was just there. They just stopped using it.
Yeah.
And they said, "Come and get it."
Wow. So we've got that stored away. The hope was that we would build a building just out here, but a few hurdles, quite a few. But there are all sorts of stories associated with various individual bits. Some of them came from the Waipori No. 2 power station when they redid that, some of the meters. A couple of them came from Ferrymead. You'll notice the similarity between the power factor meter and the frequency meter here. They were both on wooden plinths. They'd been used as laboratory instruments. And I got one from a guy off Trade Me, and another one came from Ferrymead. And the serial numbers of the 2 meters are adjacent.
Really?
Yeah, 81 something 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 810, and the other's 811.
And then it was looking a bit naked because it didn't have all this around it. And Mike, who was a trustee at Ferrymead, said, "Oh, I got a warehouse full of that stuff." So John and I shot over there.
Shot, literally.
And we climbed up into this big place on the 2nd floor, and I mean, huge space full of stuff. And Mike said, I think it was up on that 3rd mezzanine. It's up,
Yeah,
And we had to
it was
climb up
right
a
up
ladder.
in
he
the
was,
top of the top,
he
wasn't
was
it?
rattling around and he said, "Here we are!"
Here it is.
And so John shot off to get his trailer and we loaded it up and we've got it here. I mean, but it would have actually looked totally wrong without all of this stuff.
Because you can see it in the, it's actually better than the original ones that you can see.
Yeah.
in
And
the photo.
Roger sourced these little brass things. I don't know.
Yeah, they're actually, you know, for engines in the
And
cooling system.
we had a guy with us for a while, Chris Sorrell. He owned a motel unit. And he was an engineer and he spent quite a long time fitting it, didn't he?
Well, he and I did, yeah.
Yeah,
But I let him do the levelling and the strings and but
Yeah.
he was a lot more fastidious than I would.
There's,
Oh, that's it.
yeah, you can stroke through them there. There's all the
That's the switchboard from
that's
Pigeon Bay.
marble, isn't it?
Marble. Yeah. So it's all, that's a battery charger.
Well, some of these are marble, aren't they? Or
Yes.
Came from the railway station.
The two.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
From
They're
Gents-
heavy. They're
Gents-
heavy, aren't they?
Gents toilet, wasn't it? At the
oh,
railway
probably.
station.
Yeah.
Didn't you get them from the...
Yeah, they came from the railway station.
They came from the railway station
The
on Morehouse Avenue.
urinals are
And they
there
were
as
from the
well.
men's
Oh, is it?
urinal.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we cracked up, absolutely cracked up, because there was a little cupboard in the corner. Nobody had bothered. We were looking at everything else. And was it you went over and opened the door? I don't remember. But we opened the door.
The gardeners for the property weren't allowed to pee in the garden,
Right.
in the generator room.
So we've got it.
I hope they didn't waste it. I hope they rethrow it through the.
No, we didn't want
No, we now have the drain with a
So 1914, the man working the electricity wasn't going to be allowed
Well,
in.
there was another question I had. So this
So he had
is
to
total
go
waste.
riddle.
total waste. Yeah, yes.
a total loss system.
But it was very well
Falls out
disguised. It
bottom,
just looked like an
goes through
ordinary cupboard in the
Which is
corner.
actually a stormwater
And
drain.
maybe
Goes
I
right
don't
across
remember. I
the
opened the door and
ground out to sea.
Beat your head.
Which fortunately is maintained by the council because it carries all
But the
the
building
waste.
was demolished about 2 months ago.
Ah.
So, you know, we got everything we could.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
New fleet, ain't we?
the